Great. We're getting started. As people kind of join, say hi to everyone.
Oh, come on in and make yourself at home. Let's get ourselves ready to learn something. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I love at the beginning of a webinar to kind of see like the list populated on the right. Don't you love it?
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
And I have this game that I kind of play, like, do I know this person? Do I know this person? Like who is gonna be next? Because I did look at the registrant list, I admit, and I recognize some names. So I'm looking forward to the people here.
Okay, who do you see, Ronnie? Who do you see?
Nice one.
Oh, goodness. Truly a terrific Tuesday. Great to see everyone. We are super, super excited.
We are, and that was not a Zoom effect, everybody. You have cat ears as well.
You're giving away all my secrets. All my secrets.
I am. For sure. Well, I think we can get started and let people kind of join as they will. We are recording the webinar, so no worries, everyone, if you had that in mind. So I wanted to welcome everyone. Thanks for being here today. I'm Ronnie from Rightbound. I'm the VP Marketing of Rightbound. It's a cool prospecting solution for sales teams. And we have with us today here Larry Long Jr., who describes himself as the CEO, Chief Energy Officer. And I think you'll find out why in just a few minutes. Do you want to share a bit about your sales experience with us?
Oh, good. Ronnie, thank you for passing the mic, or mics in a nutshell. I've been selling ever since I was 10 years old. That was when my sister was born. I went from being an only child to now having to sell myself and tap dance that, hey, don't forget about me. But professionally, I started my sales career in the neighborhood, knocking on doors, Lawns by Larry, asking my neighbors if I could mow their lawn, do miscellaneous lawn care services. And I rolled that over into a business venture of a baseball, softball academy. And when that failed, I started picking up this 500-pound banana phone 150 times every day to accounting firms. And that's really where I got my chops for sales.
Was that really a phone, the banana?
Oh yeah, it definitely is a phone. Yeah, it connects.
Oh my gosh,
cell phone. We're not playing around. We're picking up this phone and we're doing it healthy while we're at it.
I love that. So let me ask you something, Larry. Why are these turbulent times?
Oh, in the world of sales, why ask why? I don't know why, but I know that we're going through some stuff. I don't know if HR is, but I know the folks that I speak with, the sales organizations that I talk with, they're facing some headwinds. They're facing budgets that are being tightened. You're in marketing budgets are being tightened. They're tightening the purse strings. So it's become even more challenging. Sales in and of itself is already tough. It's already challenging. But when you got budgets that are getting tightened, when you got the economy, you got that dreaded R word, recession going on, it just makes our job as professional sellers, sales leaders, even tougher. When you look at the economic environment, the political environment, the war that's going on, the pandemic, I mean, I can go on and on. I don't want to make this a cry fest, but the situation, it is what it is. But you hear that, Ronnie? Someone's knocking at my door. I think it's opportunity. And I know that when opportunity knocks, I'm ready to answer the door. My question to folks, are you ready to answer the door of opportunity that's knocking right now?
Wow. So the option of just kind of like putting your head down and waiting for this crazy time to end isn't really your recommendation, I understand. No. So what can we do?
Yeah, well, for all those that are here right now and for those that are going to watch the recording, you're doing it. And I encourage you to do more. Get out there and learn. I think they say learning is earning, which is a great thing. Let's earn Let's learn. Let's make sure that we take notes. I've got my notepad here. I take furious notes. We want to take notes, and we want to double up taking those notes with action. I think they call that a game plan, an action plan, which is why you're here, is to get that blueprint, get that game plan of the plays that you can run, the actions that you can take to not just survive. I didn't show up just to survive. I showed up because I want to thrive. And I think that most people out there, if you took the time to join us today, you also want to thrive, to have sales success. Let's do it. I'm not sponsored by Nike. For those that can see, I got the Puma on.
Or Puma.
Nike, can you hear me? But we are going to just do it.
So I really want to invite everyone that's here to use the chat box and ask questions and bring things up from your experience that we can kind of steer the conversation around, because we do have some topics that we plan to talk about, but Larry is talking about, taking action and being here, really being here, and not just, logging into a webinar and doing, cleaning up your inbox on the side. So really, please ask questions on the chat. We promise to look at that throughout the webinar and answer as many as we can.
And Ronnie, I hate to cut in, but that's where the true value lies. Your specific, your individual situation, whatever questions you have on your mind, there is no dumb question. Believe you me, someone else has that same question. Go ahead and put it in the chat. We would love to address it, your specific question. So thanks so much, Ronnie. I'm gonna pass the mic back to you.
Wow, we should have thought about corresponding mics. That would have been a cool thing. So when we were kind of discussing, what could we talk about in the webinar and what would be an interesting topic, you said several times the phrase owner mindset. So what is this owner mindset? What does that mean?
Yeah, so I use a term, and when I look for reps to work on my team, I call it epic qualities. And the first part of epic is the E. It's entrepreneurial spirit. So for anyone out there that's owned a business, you know what it's like. And for those that haven't, you still understand what it's like to have that entrepreneurial, that owner mindset, that CEO mindset of you get out of it what you put into it. So it's really about taking ownership and running your business as if it's your business. I know, Ronnie, you get a paycheck from Rightbound. That's good, but we didn't come here to be good. We came here to be great. So my encouragement is for you to run it like Ronnie Green, LLC. You should be running your business as if it is your own LLC, your own incorporated business. And for SDRs, BDRs, account executives, all the acronyms that are out there, whatever your title is, I encourage you to be the CEO. That's Chief Energy Officer for me, but CEO of your own business, taking ownership. What I've seen, and this is just my observation, is that sometimes folks show up just to check in. They're just there just to be there. They're not engaged. They don't take ownership. They don't take responsibility for their results. And that's an opportunity for us to put ourselves in the position to be the best that we can be.
That makes total sense. But, how can you kind of wake up in the morning and start taking ownership? I mean, this is something that takes practice, that you need to learn, that you need to kind of, get your hands dirty, I guess. How can you make the switch?
Yeah, I love it. And it starts right now. You talked about practice. I don't know if Allen Iverson is listening in. We're talking about practice, not the game, but it starts with what's your daily routine? What are your daily actions? And my encouragement is that, hey, it's Terrific Tuesday. Tomorrow on Wonderful Wednesday, I want you to wake up. You can grab a sheet of paper. You can grab a notebook. I want you to go ahead and document. I want you to write out, what are your goals for the day? For Wednesday, what does success look like? Now, that's good that you got the goal. Now, what are the steps? We call this the work back plan. What are those steps that you need to take to get to the goal? And I know we've got some overachievers out there. Don't wait until tomorrow. Let's do it tonight before you go to bed. Let's document our goals. Let's set our goals. We know what the company expects, and I'm going to keep it real. There are some companies out there with aggressive goals. Good. Good. I love it. And I know some of y'all are like, Larry, you don't get it. My company goals are impossible. Shoot, I pity the fool. It ain't impossible. The word itself, if you're a wordsmith, you know the word impossible stands for I am possible. And it starts with your mindset. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. It's about that belief. Do you believe that you can do it? And I'm going to break it to you. I'm going to tell you a secret that's really not a secret. You are more than enough to do great things. But if you don't believe that you can do great things, chances are it's not going to happen. Even if you do believe you can do great things, it's still going to be tough. It's not going to be sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns. And that's where our expectations need to be set correct. That's where our perspective needs to be written out and set correctly. So my encouragement, write down your goals, document that game plan starting tonight, and what are those actions that you need to take? What's that greatness that you're going to attain, regardless of the bar that the company sets? Let's go ahead and shoot up here so that we can be great. That's my recommendation, Ronnie. That's where we start right now.
You know, there's a phrase that if you shoot for the moon and you miss, you're still a star. And I wanted to ask you, Larry, like, how would you deal with, the failures along the way? Because there will be failures.
Yeah, I love it. Now, Ronnie, I'm not an expert at anything except for strikeouts. I played baseball at University of Maryland, go Terps, and I can tell you I struck out a lot. I struck out a lot on the baseball diamond, in the business world, in life in general. I've struck out. It's going to happen. I'm not saying it's a great thing, but that's where you learn. If you think about your journey through life, there's been ups, there's been downs, there's been twists, and there's been turns. I would reckon to believe, and that's North Kakalakian coming from me, I would reckon to believe that you learn some great lessons during those failures, that you learn, hey, that's not the way that I need to go. Instead of zigging, I need to zag. So my encouragement is for you to go out there, get out of your comfort zone. Don't be scared. Don't be scared to put yourself in positions where you might not have success. It's not failure unless you give up. If you keep going and you keep learning and you keep trying and you keep sharing, you keep serving, I'm telling you, you're a success.
That's a very healthy way to look at things. I feel like something that's very worth adopting. So here's the thing. Sometimes people really want to take ownership. They want to set their own goals. They want to do things the way they feel that should be done. But they're kind of hesitant because the question that's in their mind is, how is my manager going to respond? How are they going to take the fact that I'm doing something a bit differently than was, designated to me or from my peers? Maybe even intimidated by them.
Well, you talked about managers. I'm going to speak about leaders. If you communicate to your leader what you're planning to do, and you solicit their feedback, most good leaders are going to receive what you're saying, provide suggestions, maybe put up some guardrails on what you can and cannot do. But by you taking the initiative, by you taking ownership, of course, there's going to be some leaders that feel threatened. There's bad managers that are out there that are going to say, oh, no, we got to stick to the books. It is what it is. Sometimes you got to reevaluate. Am I in the right place? But my encouragement is that if you take ownership and your leadership doesn't back you up, Houston, we have a problem. I know for me, I love when my reps came with new ideas, came with thoughts that came with intentionality. You could tell that they thought it through all the way and they had a reasoning behind what they wanted to do. Hey, go ahead and give it a test. Let's see what works. We're going to either have great success or we're going to learn, which is still great success. So my encouragement, once again, we're hearing a theme, is to just do it. Communicate with your leadership. Hey, this is what I'm thinking. This is what I want to apply. Here goes why I want to do it. Here goes my plan. Are you cool with it? Do you have any feedback for me? Let's go.
That's really good feedback. I think a lot of SDRs, since it's, an entry level kind of position, and some people have, they're presented with a game plan and they have a quota. And when they wake up in the morning, the mindset is, how do I achieve this quota? And if I'm currently not achieving this quota, how can I even think about, redefining the quota or redefining processes or doing things differently than, what I was told to do? Because let's face it, an SDR, an AE role is all about the quota, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely about targets. So let me just share this with you, Ronnie. When I was leading my sales team, SDR team, AE team, I had 3 goals. And those 3 goals haven't changed. Number 1 goal, hit targets. Got to hit targets. We've got goals for a reason. That's what keeps the lights on. That's what gives us the opportunity to kind of flex our muscles, to get a little bit outside the box by hitting our targets. Number 2, grow and learn. That's like a muscle. Every day, are you learning something new? Whether it's about your product, whether it's about the industry, whether it's about your current clients, your prospects, are you learning something new every single day? Number 3, and this is the most important one, and if you're doing number 1 and number 2 at a high level, you got to have fun. I think the millennials call it YOLO. You only live once. I said, what do you call it? They said, no, Larry, you only live once. If I'm hitting goals and I'm learning something new, you better believe I'm going to have fun. Can I give you an example real quick, Ronnie?
Sure.
Nathan Bird, the Birdman. What happened to that boy? Every day he set himself on 100% scale. Nathan Bird, he's over at Channel Advisor. I hired him as a BDR. He's now a sales leader. His 5 goals. Goal number 1, had to make 50 calls. If he hit 50 calls, he's at 20% of his 100% goal. Goal number 2, 50 emails, making the phone calls, sending the emails. Goal number 3, booking 1 scheduled demo. Check. If he was able to book 1 scheduled demo, that was a success. Goal number 4, finding 1 net new prospect every day. Are you filling your funnel and your pipeline with new meat, with new opportunities out there? It takes a little bit of research and it takes that intentionality. Number 5, learning something new each and every day. I said, how do you define that? He said, I've got to take 20 minutes to learn something new about the e-commerce industry, about our current clients, about prospects that we lost, what happened, about sales in general, what's happening, what's the pulse of the sales industry right now? Who can I learn from? What podcast can I listen to? What can I read right now? There's so many resources out there. Some are good, some are bad, but us as professionals, we need to take that information, synthesize it, and determine what can I use and what needs to go in one ear and out the other, in through our eyes and out on the other side. That's a perfect example right there. What are your KPIs every day that are going to help drive you to success? I encourage you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a professional. Hopefully you're not an amateur. There's a lot of people out there, it's amateur hour. As a professional, what are those KPIs that you're driving for each and every day? That is the question.
I love the learn something new every day, because the others are kind of obvious, of course, the emails, of course, the number of calls, of course, booking meetings, but the learning something new as a daily goal, right? It's not like weekly or quarterly. As a daily goal is amazing. And I think that one of the resources that people don't really realize that they have like at their fingertips is colleagues, internal resources. Talking to someone from the marketing team, talking to, the most experienced AE, or, maybe the opposite, talking to the newest person on the team, because being, tabula rasa is a different type of mindset. So I think that learning something new, people kind of always go to, what can I find on the internet, but definitely try to kind of talk to your team. And so many companies are working remotely that people don't even know everyone that's in the company. And I have to share, we had a hackathon last week. It was a 2-day hackathon. And the most amazing part, and we had really cool ideas and products that, you know, went live in 48 hours. But the best thing was getting to know 2 new people that I didn't know, because they were at a different site, at a different country, from, you know, very different professions and teams. And now I feel like I have this brand new asset at my fingertips. So I love the point about learning something new.
And I love how you talk about colleagues, because
Yes.
it takes intentionality to get to know colleagues both on your team and cross-functionally. I've got another story. Mr. Jack Roney, Jack, the swimmer. He was a walk-on swimmer at NC State, one of the first SDR hires I had at Pendo, which is now a unicorn. I was employee number 40, but I'll never forget. I did this get to know your colleagues challenge. And essentially it was exactly what it says. Get to know your colleagues. You had to go and introduce yourself to colleagues, ask them a series of questions, and then share with them, answer some questions about yourself to establish those relationships. Now, it takes work once you establish the relationship to strengthen that relationship. And we all know there's a saying. I think the traditional saying is, it's not what you know, but it's who you know. And in my Steve Harvey Family Feud voice, survey says, nerd, it's not what you know, and it's not even who you know. It's who knows you, who trusts you, and who believes in you. And Jack Roney proved that. He met Mr. Brett Carson, who was our sales engineer. Jack moved from SDR to AE. He had a deal that he wanted to close in February. Well, it took some additional dev and engineering, sales engineering resources. Brett said, hey, if you put it in the queue, you're not going to close this by the end of February. I know you, Jack. You're a swimmer. Your wife was a swimmer. I was a swimmer. I got you, dog. Do you think Jack closed that deal by the end of February? You better believe it, because Brett knew him. Brett liked him. Brett trusted him and made that thing happen internally. So what are you doing to build, to foster those relationships internally with your colleagues and externally with colleagues that are outside of your organization, and provide fresh perspective? You talked about it, Ronnie. That new rep comes in without being in the echo chamber of your organization. There's so much. I'm licking my chops just thinking about, there's so much opportunity for us to learn. And once we learn, we earn. So let's go.
For sure. I want to ask you a question from the audience. Diana, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is asking for some tips, for your best tips on outbounding. And I wonder if you can connect, you know, the theme of taking ownership and doing things kind of differently, in terms of how do you prospect, how do you outbound?
Oh, I love it, Diana. Great question. And I wish I could draw. Actually, I will draw a diagram. We're going to get into it. I'm going to draw a diagram here, because here goes my thoughts on outbounding. You have your prospect in the middle. Hopefully there's not a glare. Okay, you got your prospect in the middle. What I recommend is that you create the spokes for your outbound efforts. Now you can see there's about 8 different spokes that are on this. Now, I encourage you to think about all the various spokes that you can use. I'll start with the obvious: picking up the phone and calling, sending an email, social media. That's number 3. How about snail mail? How about asking for a referral? How about asking for a reference from someone who knows that prospect that you're trying to reach? How about sending a video message? Can you see me now? An audio message, a GIF. How about an in-person trade show? How about looking at what they're doing on social and engaging with them there? The list goes on and on. So it's really, my recommendation is taking a multi-threaded approach, because if all you do is call, you're going to miss those people that might not pick up the phone. You might miss those people that prefer email, that prefer social, that prefer a referral. If all you do is social, you're missing out on those people that are sitting by their phone saying, I hope Deanna is calling me right now. Said no one ever. Let's keep it real. No one is saying that except for me. But essentially, there's people that you can get through on the phone, because it's a path that not many people are traveling these days. People are afraid of the phone. And I know the conversion rates, I know the numbers, but I also believe that the phone can be your best friend. Now, what I would advise is, how can you make the ice cold call a little bit warmer? How can you heat it up? It was almost 100 degrees here in Raleigh-Durham yesterday. How can you heat up those calls so that you can actually communicate with someone? You can get them to pick up. How do you soften them up? Email. How do you make sure that you build your brand on social media so that you're a thought leader, you're an expert in your industry? Well, if you're learning every day, if you're speaking with internal and external colleagues, you now put yourself in a position to share those learnings, where now it's not just Deanna, the SDR, the BDR, but it's Deanna, the industry expert. Deanna, the one who's learning, who's earning, who's sharing those lessons. You now have a reputation of being the one. So I hope that helps. Yeah, multi-threaded. What are those ways to go outbound?
For sure. Another question that we got from Yael is about tools used to kind of perform better in this owner CEO mindset that you talked about. Is there anything that you can recommend for people to use in order to do that?
Yeah, I mean, of course, I gotta give it up to Rightbound. Y'all are sponsoring this, but let's keep it real. My head is gonna explode with the number of tools that are out there. There's a tool for this, a tool for that.
What is the problem?
Yeah, there's so many tools. There's enough tools to last a lifetime. The big thing, and my challenge to you, I think almost everyone has a CRM. Are you getting the most out of your CRM? It's kind of like Excel. If you've ever used Microsoft Excel, you're probably like me. You use it for columns and rows. But do you know how to use some of the advanced functionality within Excel? That takes you investing time, energy, and resource to learn. So whatever tools you have at your disposal, I would encourage you, instead of looking at what are the new shiny tools, ooh, purple squirrel, that I can use, how do you get the most out of your tool stack today? Whether you're using call intelligence, CRM, AI, IM, robot, whatever tool you're using, how do you maximize that to fit within your plan? That is the challenge. There's a ton of tools out there that I can recommend that are good for SDRs, BDRs, AEs, but it really is dependent upon your prospect, your sales process, and you. I see it too many times. I'm not going to say the names, but there's organizations that have a robust tool stack that they're not getting even close to the value out of it. And it pains me. It draws a tear to my eye. So my encouragement, Elle, get the most out of what you currently have.
I think you mentioned AI now, and we just got a question from Jason about recommendations on AI related tools. It's definitely the buzzword of the year. And I think, obviously talking about ChatGPT is, the obvious go-to. Can you talk a bit about how AI can help us with, everything that you've mentioned so far in terms of, taking ownership and doing things differently and being original?
Yeah. Tony Robbins has a quote, and I'm going to paraphrase. I'm going to give y'all the P. Diddy remix. It's something to the effect of, the most successful people ask the toughest questions. He doesn't use the word toughest, but they ask the toughest questions, therefore they get the best answers. So when you think about AI, I think about, what are the questions you're asking it? What are your expectations? If you're expecting it to replace you working hard, survey says, nah. But if you see it as a way to accelerate, to expand, to expound on that hard work and those efforts that you're doing to help you drive efficiency, whether it's helping you craft a script, whether it's helping you craft some of the industry, the things that keep your prospects up at night so that you can craft a story, you can customize and tailor. If you're using it to further your efforts, I think good on you. If you're looking at it to replace, and I'll give you an example. We brought on a sequencing tool, and my team, they were licking their chops. They said, this is awesome, Larry. I just get to hit a button and I sit back and all the scheduled demos just come in. I said, what you talking about, Willis? That ain't why we got this thing. Because if that's the case, I don't need you. I want to make sure that I'm needed. And the way that I'm needed is to make sure that what's between my ears, which for me, there's not much, but for all y'all are brilliant, to make sure that what's between these ears, which isn't replaceable, I'm using to the maximum. So I encourage you to be thoughtful, to be intentional, to use those tools, those AI tools, which are fabulous, to further what you would do without them, not to replace, not to get lazy and say, oh, I can just click a button and sit back and relax. When it comes to email crafting, AI is great, but you got to fact check it. You got to make sure that it's your voice, because whether you know it or not, prospects can smell BS from a mile away, and it doesn't smell good. So I encourage you to make sure that it fits your tone, your voice, your style, so that you don't lose that essence of you. And now all of a sudden it's Chat GPT where you're not even needed. I hope that makes sense, Jason. Great question.
So what do you say to people who worry or raise the question, can tools kind of replace us in the future on the sales, SDR, AE type of role? Is that going to happen, or is the job just going to change?
Yeah, I don't know the future, and I don't try to predict the future. I do think about what could happen. I don't see AI replacing humans, because a robot can't replace this energy. Come on, Ronnie. It can't replace the thoughts that I have, the empathy that I have, the ability to ask questions and read the room. I mean, right now, I see you, Ronnie. You're like, wow, this dude really is off the chain. I'm a mind reader, and I can't do that. I know the crowd is like, goodly, ugly. This dude has a lot of energy. So for me, I am not worried about being replaced by AI. I am concerned that there's someone who's good that can use AI to accelerate. Hey, what are you doing? I'm trying to learn from you. I'm trying to be the best that I can be. So there's a saying. It's called control the controllables. I'm only going to worry about those things that I can control. My kids start school tomorrow, 2 middle schoolers. Pray for me. Essentially, I know how it's going to go. Hey, daddy, you won't believe what. I don't care. I care about you. You can't control what someone else does. So many times in sales, we're worried about what's going on externally. We can't control that. We're worried about what's going on internally. Did you see what? So who cares? Stay in your lane, do the best that you can be to be excellent. And what I found is that in the end, all's well that ends well. And if you stay focused on you, being the best that you can be, you're going to be A-okay. There's a little, you can Google it. It was back I think it was 2 Olympics ago. Michael Phelps, he was swimming. Yeah, my form is terrible, but it showed him he was winning. I think it was a swimmer from South Africa, was middle stroke, and he was looking over at Michael Phelps' lane. And the tagline, I love it. Winners focus on winning. Losers focus on winners. Stop focusing on other people. You focus on winning your race, and you're going to be A-okay.
I love the Michael Phelps example. Wow, that's beautiful. So how would you implement this train of thought towards, being a team player and, working together as a team of SDRs and team quotas? What's your take on that?
I love it. I love it. Teamwork really does make the dream work. And for any of those out there that have played team sports, you know that there's power. I hate to call all these sayings, but there's a saying: if you want to go fast, go alone. Go by yourself. Be a lone wolf. If you want to go far, mount up. Go ahead and rock with the team that's working together to rise up all the tides. So I think that as an SDR, even remote, there's an opportunity for collaboration, for community. You've got a built-in community to share ideas of what's working, what's hot, and what's not. And get a load of this. If you take away one thing from what we talk about today, in the words of Allen Iverson, I'm talking about practice. When was the last time you practiced your craft? I'm going to tell you another story. When I was in middle school, I told my parents, I said, hey, I want to be the best baseball player that I can be. I'm going in the 9th grade. I want to play varsity. They said, okay, Larry, we're going to give you the recipe. They bought me a solo hitter. It's a T. They told me, hey, do your homework, practice your clarinet, take 100 swings, practice Monday through Friday. That meant that I couldn't go to the ice skating rink with all my friends. I couldn't go to the mall on Friday nights because I'm taking 100 swings. I had my eyes set on the goal. I'm going to ask all y'all out there, do you think I played varsity as a freshman in baseball in high school? You better believe it. Do you think I started at University of Maryland Division I? You better believe it, because I practiced. I'm a little guy. I'm 5'9" 3/4. My son, he's 13 years old. He's taller than me, but you can't beat my heart and my work ethic. I stay focused. So as an SDR, BDR, sales professional, sales leader, stay focused on those KPIs that are going to move you. I think they call it in spin selling in advance. They're talking about the sales process, but how do you advance your sales skills instead of a continuation where you're kind of like that dog chasing its tail? You're doing a lot of work, but you ain't going nowhere. That's the challenge.
Wow. When you have a team, can there really be more than one CEO? Can there be more than one owner? You know, there's a reason it's called the chief officer, right? There's a reason that you have like org charts like this, like a triangle. How is it possible?
I'm gonna flip the script on you. I'm gonna flip the script and say that if everyone is actually, I love sports analogies. I know some people are like, Larry, get over it. I don't understand baseball. Baseball is a team sport made up of 9 individuals on a field that hopefully are working together. If number 7 and number 3, they're not working together, the team is not going to be as efficient. It's the same thing within sales. Sales is a team sport. It really is. If you can get the team working together, all taking ownership of their business, it is amazing. I mean, like the great philosopher J.J. Walker said, I've been there before, but I've also been with dysfunctional teams where people are catty. They're hoarding information. No, I'm not going to share that. I want to be tops on the leaderboard. I can't have anyone threaten me. I'm going to hold them down. No, let's all thrive. Let's all shine. Let's all work together as a team, and let's have fun doing it. I told you number 3 goal was to have fun. It's fun when you're flossing, when you're taking care of business, and your colleagues are doing the same. It's like, hey, we're having a party. We're having a good old time. We're hitting goals. We're learning and we're growing. We're helping everyone rise to the top, and we're having a whole lot of fun. That's just my perspective, Ronnie. That's my 2 cents. It ain't even worth a nickel, but I'm sticking to it.
I definitely want to invite the people listening here to add, their take on how to make the role more fun. I think that, and would love to hear from you as well. I think that one of the things that I think can really work, since a lot of the teams are remote, is to have, 1 hour a day or 1 day a week where everybody's working kind of like together in a virtual room, cameras on, like a playlist on Spotify that everybody's listening to. So that's something that would work, for me, since I'm in marketing, so we don't cold call, so we can do such a thing. But do you have any like small ideas, small tips on how to make the day-to-day more fun? Because let's face it, an SDR it's a tough role.
It is. It's one of the toughest roles. It's also one of the most important roles. Now, I'm going to flip the script here. I was on a bus tour last year that I know y'all sponsor called the Flip the Script Bus Tour, but I'm going to give y'all something to do right now. You want to have more fun? Let's go ahead and set up practice sessions. Let's practice our opening on our cold calls. Let's go ahead and set up practice of the emails that we send to follow up. Let's go ahead and practice on the video messages we're going to send on LinkedIn with our peers. Now, I know some people are like, Larry, that doesn't sound like fun. You're making me sweat just thinking about it. And that's good. It's okay. okay to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's where you grow. So I would encourage you as a team to practice. Why not make have a power hour, a cold call power hour, where everyone comes on Zoom. One person takes themselves off of mute. They make a call. Hopefully, you're able to get conversations, because that's key, but also leaving voicemails. You can hear what other people and sharing feedback. Hey, Ronnie, this is what you did great. This was excellent. Here goes an opportunity for improvement to take you to that next level. Now everyone is able to share together. Everyone's uncomfortable together. You do that a few times and now everyone is comfortable doing it. They're looking forward to doing it. They're seeing business results from this practice. Who doesn't like business results? I don't know about you, but that brings a big old smile to my face when I'm starting to see the needle move, when I'm starting to see that I'm achieving my goals. That certainly lights my fire. So it's just something to think about right there.
So how can a manager kind of cultivate this spirit in terms of course, who they hire, but also if they inherit an existing team or they want to do something differently from, today onwards?
Yeah, I love it. It's the mindset of the leader. And I know you use the term manager, that's fine. But as a leader, your job is to come in and ask the right questions. Find out, what are people's motivations? Why are they here? What makes them so passionate? What's their game plan and their business plan? Where do they want to get to? And how can you best serve them? I would imagine that if you're hiring right, if you're hiring for those epic qualities, entrepreneurial spirit, preparation, planning, practice, internal drive and desire, strong communicators that have courage, that have confidence, and actually give a damn, pardon my French, parlez-vous français, they actually have true care for serving people, you're now going to be able to lead, to guide, and to set a culture of feedback, a culture of practice, a culture of, hey, we're all going to get better, myself included. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and I'm going to get in the trenches with y'all. Let's go.
Great. I think you talked about practice, so much. I wanted to ask you, obviously you speak at various webinars, various conferences, and you're a great speaker. Do you still practice before an event?
1000%. 1000%. And generally,
Yeah.
I practice with my 13-year-old son, my 9-year-old daughter, not my wife. My wife, oh, my wife is savage. If I love my wife and she loves me, but she does not pull any punches. She beats me up. She's like, oh, and it's okay. My wife has a different style. She doesn't like the high energy Larry that I turn into when I speak. But my kids are like, especially my son, he's like, Daddy, why don't you shift this around? Why don't you say this way? Great feedback from the entire fam. And I'm also fortunate to have a mastermind group that we work on practicing different areas, whether it's the opening, whether it's the body, whether it's the close, whether it's the interactivity. Just sharing that feedback. It can be uncomfortable, but it's amazing getting that honest feedback that's not sugar-coated, that helps you get to that next level. You might be good, but how can you be great? You might be great, but how can you be wonderful? That's what we're trying to do through any times, turbulent, chaotic times. We want to be the best that we can be and truly thrive.
And do you feel that you learn something from each webinar that you do, including today?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Do you want my learning from today?
Sure.
Ronnie, you did an excellent job with the questions. I could tell that you put thought into the questions that you asked, and not only taking questions from the audience, which is critical, but you having those thoughtful questions of, hey, what might be on the minds of sales professionals, sales leaders today as they're battling through turbulent, challenging, chaotic times? Excellent job. I'm taking notes. I am taking notes, Ronnie.
Well, I had a great time, talking with you about the mindset and like how crucial it can be, because, it is a challenging time. It is. Companies are going through changes, teams are, changing, shifting. A lot of people have, gotten laid off, teams are changing, goals are changing, quotas are getting, harder and harder to hit. And I think definitely the mindset, definitely the practice, definitely the having fun, learning something new every day. I think I have, a lot of takeaways from the conversation today with you. And I really hope that, people here listening to you are motivated and are going to wake up tomorrow morning and do like only one small thing differently because they heard this webinar today. So that's my wish to wrap it up. And any final thoughts you want to share?
Yes, thank you so much, Ronnie, for hosting this. My wish and my parting shot is, first of all, thank you for joining. I know time is valuable. Hopefully you learned something, which is good, but we didn't come this far just to come this far. We all want to be great. In order to be great, not only do we have to have a growth mindset, we've got to have an action mindset. So the challenge is, what's that one action that you take as a result of something that you learned, either from Ronnie and I, or from the comments as well? I know that there were some great comments that folks included in there. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Deanna. Just thank you for participating. So my parting shot is just do it.
Thank you everyone for being with us today, and feel free to ping us on social and let us know what you did differently tomorrow.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.